Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Teresa. I'm a Christian, a single mom of two amazing boys, and I share my journey of faith, healthy hair, motherhood, and building an online business, all while living with chronic pain after major surgery. Today's video is for anyone who's ever said, I just don't feel motivated anymore. Maybe you've lost motivation in your faith. Maybe you've lost motivation in your health. Maybe you've lost motivation in your business. Or maybe life has simply become overwhelming. If that's you, I want to encourage you today because I've learned something over the last few years. Motivation isn't what keeps you going, faith is. I think one of the biggest lies we're told today is that we should only do things when we feel motivated. Social media loves motivation. New Year's motivation, Monday motivation, motivational quotes. But motivation is simply a feeling. Feelings come and feelings go. If I waited until I felt motivated, there would have been so many days I wouldn't have prayed. I wouldn't have worked. I wouldn't have exercised. I wouldn't have filmed videos. I certainly wouldn't have built a business because life isn't always easy. There are days when you're tired, days when you're discouraged, days when nothing seems to be happening. Motivation disappears the moment life becomes difficult. Faith doesn't. Many of you know parts of my story. Several years ago, I became very ill. I had surgery to remove a desmoid tumor, and as a result, I developed CRPS. Life changed literally overnight. There were so many things I could no longer do physically. And as a single mom, that was very frightening. I remember wondering, God, what now? Nothing made any sense. My hair was falling out from illness and medication. My confidence disappeared. Financially, things became difficult. If I'd relied on motivation, I would have stopped believing anything good could come from that season. But faith whispered something different. Faith said, keep trusting me, even when I couldn't see the outcome, even when I couldn't understand what God was doing. Looking back now, I can see He was preparing me. He was teaching me dependence. He was showing me that my identity was never in my health or my hair or my circumstances. It was always in Him. Can I encourage somebody today? Just because you can't see movement doesn't mean God isn't working. Some of the greatest work God does happens underground, just like roots. When you plant a seed, you don't dig it up every day to see if it's growing. You water it. You trust the process. Faith is exactly the same. There were months and even years when I couldn't see how God was going to provide. Yet, somehow, He always did. Not always in the way that I expected, but always in the way I needed. That's why Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5 to 6 says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. Sometimes we want God to show us the whole staircase. Instead, he simply asks us to take the next step. One lesson God's keep teaching me is this: obedience is my responsibility. Results belong to him. Whether it's creating content, raising my boys, serving in church, or building my business. My job is simply to be faithful with what He's placed in my hands. Galatians 6 and verse 9 says, "And let us not be weary in well doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not." Notice it doesn't say if you feel motivated. It says if you don't give up. Of course, I'm paraphrasing. That's where faith steps in. Faith says, I'll keep planting, even when I can't see the harvest yet. So if you're watching this today and you've lost your motivation, I want to encourage you not to chase motivation. Chase Jesus. Spend time with Him. Read His Word. Pray. Take the next faithful step. You don't need to have everything figured out. You don't need to feel inspired every day. You simply need to trust the one who already knows the end from the beginning. Maybe today's step is making that phone call. Maybe it's applying for that job. Maybe it's accepting that opportunity. Maybe it's forgiving someone. Maybe it's starting the business you've been praying about. Maybe it's simply getting out of bed and thanking God for another day. Whatever it is, take the next step because faith will take you much further than motivation ever could. If this video encouraged you today, I'd love to know in the comments. Have you ever had a season where faith carried you when motivation couldn't? Let's encourage one another. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need this reminder today. Until next time, take care, God bless, and I'll see you in the next video.